Hey, it's Jake Riepma filling in for Matt Dery on Locked On Lions, and Aidan Hutchinson gets paid. Brad Holmes and company get it done once again, and the Lions have a lot of fun at their Halloween party. Let's talk about it on Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And here we go. Welcome one, welcome all. Jake Riepma filling in for Matt Dery and fired up to be with you on Locked On Lions. It is, however, a wonderful day, but it's a little bit sad because it's my last day filling in for Matt Dery. But awesome show lined up for everybody today. And it makes it easy when you've got Chef Brad Holmes cooking once again. Aidan Hutchinson is locked up long-term. We'll talk about that deal. And should the Lions buy, sell, or stay put at the upcoming trade deadline? I think you'll probably know my answer there, but we'll discuss anyways. And it's the season of Halloween parties, and the Lions, they go all out. They always do it big. That's also on tap for today. So buckle up, dial it in, and let's have some fun on a Wednesday, October 29th. As always, make sure you like today's video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And do me a favor, leave me a nice, I'm just kidding. I had fun with everybody on the comment section. I appreciate all your comments. Seriously, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. I've had a blast the last couple of days, and I love talking ball. I love talking Lions football on the Locked On Podcast Network, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. And because I didn't give you the shameless plug yesterday, I will today real quick. If you don't know, I do the Locked On Lions squad show with myself, Natalie Kerwin of FanDuel Sports, and Bradford Banta, 20-year NFL veteran, both as a player and as a coach. Awesome expertise and knowledge. On Thursdays is our weekly show, and then post-game after the games as well. So make sure you check that out. It's all right here on Locked On Lions. But here we go. The story of the day. You can hear the excitement in my voice. I don't want to say laughing at some other franchises in the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys, who had a very similar situation with a star pass rusher and just completely fumbled the bag. Of course, Micah Parsons ends up in Green Bay, but that's neither here nor there. But point being, Aidan Hutchinson is a Detroit Lion for the next 4 years. If you haven't heard by now, it's a 4-year extension, $180 million, 141 of that guaranteed. It's the most guaranteed money for a non-quarterback in NFL history. So there's your record-breaking deal. But, and it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. What this says to me, to you, to the fan base, to the rest of the National Football League is the Detroit Lions aren't going anywhere. And I said this on my short. I'll say it to anybody that asks. I am so sick of other fan bases, Green Bay Packer fans, and anybody else in my mentions, in the comments, in my ear, whatever it is. Oh, you know, that Lions window, it's closing. It ain't closing. The Lions have their core locked up for the foreseeable future. They've drafted well, and they've taken care of business in the appropriate way. And again, I'm not pointing fingers at other NFL franchises. I'm just using examples where organizations didn't proactively take care of business, and it ended up costing them. Not so fast with Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman, the rest of the Lions front office and organization that we love to praise, because why? They deserve it. They earn it. Now, I think it also is worth mentioning how much more Aidan Hutchinson brings to the table in addition to the on-field production, which we all know about the on-field production. We all know he is an absolute monster at a position that you could make the case is the most important position in the National Football League outside of your quarterback. You have to be able to generate pressure. You have to be able to have a force on the edge, and Aidan Hutchinson checks every single one of those boxes. The pressure rate he competes at, the win rate, the Pro Football Focus, whatever your barometer of choice is, Aidan Hutchinson's going to grade out significantly better than the rest in all aspects. And I think this year you can make the case that he's playing at a defensive player of the year level. And if he doesn't get the defensive player of the year, he sure as hell is going to get the comeback player of the year because of the injury that he overcame and the ability to essentially serve that as that vocal leader, that inspirational leader, and everything else that you want to have from your star player. Aidan Hutchinson checks every single one of those boxes. He's also a leader amongst that defensive unit, and guys look to him to be, the face of the defense, the spark, and really just carry that hometown kid and heart and soul kind of figure within a defense that every good defense needs and every championship team needs. And again, with this being my last day on the Locked On Lions daily show here, I got to say it one more time, and maybe I'll even say it again. This team has Super Bowl aspirations, and in order to be a serious franchise with Super Bowl aspirations, moves like this need to be made, and I applaud Brad Holmes for doing exactly that. Now, I will also say I love the body of work that Brad Holmes and the rest of this front office is putting together. And I could say quietly putting together. Maybe that's not the right way to put it, but again, those that don't know, I've worked at 97.1 The Ticket, the Detroit Lions flagship radio station, and 105.3 The Fan, the Dallas Cowboys flagship radio station. And let me just tell you, the Dallas Cowboys do things a little bit differently. There's drama. It's a toxic environment at times as it relates to Jerry Jones and his relationship with Micah Parsons. That was well documented. And I have such a clear comparison because of my experience of how different Brad Holmes in this Detroit Lions front office is in comparison to a different front office that didn't get the job done with a star pass rusher. So I don't want to, harp on that too much. I just can't convey enough the stark contrast between the Detroit Lions organization doing things the right way. And this is the result. You've got Aidan Hutchinson for 4 years, $180 million. And yes, that's a big price to pay, but he is worth every single penny. You got Jared Goff locked up for the next 4 years. Amon-Ra St. Brown for the next 4 years at $120 million. You've got Penei Sewell for 4 years at $112 million. Jameson Williams for 3 years, because remember that was done the night before the first game in that late Saturday night news. You've got Kirby Joseph, another anchor of the defense in the secondary, 4-year deal, $85 million. You've got Aleem McNeil, 4-year deal, $97 million. And you got Taylor Decker, 3 years for $60 million. And what does that say about this Detroit Lions organization as a whole? Homegrown talent. Draft, develop, reward. That's what this Detroit Lions team is made of, and that's what this Detroit Lions team has done. And again, I've got Super Bowl aspirations for this year. Nothing wrong with that. Let's put that out there. And at the same time, this team, the core, the leaders, the essentially your faces of the franchises are here to stay. And not that you get extra points for drafting, developing, and rewarding, but that in and of itself, that approach rewards a culture. This culture is here to stay. And I think culture sometimes is an overused word in sports. Every new coach that comes in says, I'm going to change the culture and I'm going to build things the right way. And that's great. But Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman, let's go all the way up to ownership. Sheila Hunt Ford, everybody deserves a lot of credit for doing it. And it doesn't happen overnight. I sometimes want to scream out to the other franchises that are trying to do it overnight and not necessarily giving the seeds time to reap what you sow. Because remember, Dan Campbell's first year wasn't pretty. But all that said, I believe Aidan Hutchinson getting paid is the best example of doing things right. And man, it just brings a smile to my face to know that Aidan Hutchinson is where he belongs. Canton kid, University of Michigan, and now the Detroit Lions. And again, the storybook not ending, but the next chapter, I'll say that the next chapter is lifting a Lombardi trophy. Just getting pumped up just thinking about that. People on the YouTube, if you're watching versus listening, are probably like, all right, Riepma, relax. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. But I just get fired up of an organization doing things the right way. And that's what you've seen from the Detroit Lions on a consistent enough basis that it is no stretch to make the claim that, hey, this organization is well run. This organization does things the right way, and this organization is a force to be reckoned with. That's how we'll end the first segment. Coming up, how about a little buy, sell, or stay put? We'll talk about the Lions' certain needs and how they could address them leading into the trade deadline, and then we'll wrap it up with some Halloween costume party fun. That's all coming up next. Don't go anywhere. It's the Locked On Lions podcast. I'm Jake Riepma right here on the Locked On Lions podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. That's right. Listen up and listen good, because I'm telling you what, Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS top safety picks awards than anyone else. And that's of August 2025. So very, very recent. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every single model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa upholstery. You can make every drive feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, it all happens with the all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV. You drive with confidence through almost any season with Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every single detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda. Move and be moved. Today's episode of the Locked On Lions podcast is also brought to you by our good friends over at Gametime. That's right, Gametime. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, prices jumping at checkout, it's so frustrating at times. But that's why I use Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. When I pull up the Gametime app, just a couple of taps, I see amazing deals. And I'm talking about every single NFL game with tickets as low as $100. The best part, the price you see, that's the price you pay. Nothing worse than thinking you got a great deal. You go to checkout and there's all those surprise fees. No, none of that with Gametime. The price you see is the price you pay. There's also zone deals where you pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and you save big. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Gametime app today. We are cruising right along on the Locked On Lions podcast. Jake Riepma with you. If you're just tuning in or you skipped ahead, you know that Aidan Hutchinson signed the big deal. 4 years, $180 million with $141 guaranteed. Highest paid defensive end behind Micah Parsons. So let me rephrase that. He's the second highest paid defensive end, and the record-breaking component of it all is the guaranteed money. So no other non-quarterback has ever received this much guaranteed money. But enough of the contract news, exciting news. But how about where this Detroit Lions team is at right now? Trade deadline rapidly approaching on November the 4th. And the NFL trade deadline doesn't garnish the same type of attention or hype or action, whatever terminology you want to put it, or some of the other sports. You know, it's not like the MLB trade deadline. And if you're a subscriber or fan of the Locked On Tigers podcast and you saw all of my Locked On Tigers post-game shows, you're probably ready to turn this off, because for weeks and weeks and weeks, I screamed into the microphone about how upset I was that the Tigers didn't do anything at the trade deadline. little bit different of a tone here in the National Football League, obviously, because this is a complete roster. This is a team that is, and not that the game is played in an Excel spreadsheet with stats and analytics and everything else, but the Lions check out really good. There are some areas of concern, sure, roster-wise, where you lack a little bit of depth, and we've seen that on full display with some of the injuries that this team has had to endure in the secondary and suspensions and so on and so forth. But at the same time, I really don't anticipate, and this is not shocking to anybody, we got to talk about it. The trade deadline's coming up. There was a poll out on the Pride of Detroit, I believe, from SB Nation, and forgive me if I don't have the phrasing exactly right there. But point being, it was, should the Lions buy, sell, or just stay put? And I think overwhelmingly we can all agree with stay put. Now, on the squad show, and even now as I work through it, there's times where I think, yeah, it'd kind of be fun to entertain the idea of making a splash move for another pass rusher, because that would be helpful. And when you combine it with the services and ability of Aidan Hutchinson, of course, another pass rusher would be absolutely game wrecking defensively, but at what cost, right? This Lions team is close to having a full arsenal of draft picks next year, just missing a 3rd round pick. And so that's where the idea of selling can at least be discussed. Is there somebody you can part ways with and maybe obtain some future draft capital? I think the short answer to that is just no, there's really not. And so just by the deductive reasoning, if you will, where you say, if not this, then that, I think that's what deducting reasoning is. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be that smart. Let's be honest. I somehow, some way got through Northwestern's broadcast journalism school, but it certainly wasn't without the question marks of being on academic probation. Whoops. Anyways, that being said, listen, a splash move would be fun to talk about. And there's an element of trusting Brad Holmes, letting him cook. But I think the recipe for this team is everything we touched on in the opening segment. Draft well, develop, and reward. And I think Jack Campbell's probably next in that same conversation. He's another homegrown player. And you look at the impact that these defensive guys have on all 3 levels, being Aidan Hutchinson on the defensive line, great linebacker core with Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, and then into the secondary with Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. Those guys stay healthy, man. I really just don't see a lot of need, but the staying healthy part is obviously very, very critical. And I don't want to do the thing where we go through the entire roster. I like this player. I like that player. But I really don't anticipate seeing any moves made at the trade or ahead of the trade deadline for this Lions team. I think you ride with who you came with. And in the end, like I've said over and over again, maybe that's the theme for this show. It's the Super Bowl or bust. And that's a good place to be. And it's a testament to how this team has been built. But let's continue the Locked On Lions program here on the Locked On Lions podcast network. Let's talk a little Halloween costumes, some fun and good times, because that is what it's all about this time of year, as Halloween is just a few short days away. Are you a Halloween fan? Do you dress up? I'm a big fan of Halloween. I'll just put it that way. All right, that's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. It's the Locked On Lions podcast.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, final segment with me. Some of you are jumping for joy, but in all seriousness, thank you to Matt Dery for allowing me to step in his absence. Talked with Matt Dery today. What a guy he is. And he will be back for the next couple of episodes and for the rest of the week. And of course, moving forward. But shout out to Matt Dery. I believe he's one of the original Locked On hires. I don't know the exact details, but he's the man. I know that. All right. Final segment of the program. Halloween coming up October 31st. It always goes hand in hand with football. Thank you, Jake, for the lesson on Halloween and football. Hey, you're welcome. But the Lions, everything they do, they're going to do it big. They're going to go all out, and Halloween is no exception. So they had their Halloween party, and thank you from all of us to Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he was, for whatever reason, deemed, and I don't know if he was deemed or not, but he took the role of being the photographer and the social media extraordinaire so that you and I could get a look at what everybody's costumes consisted of. And I won't go through every single one of them, but I love, and I know it's not unique to the Lions, so please don't take that as me saying only the Lions do this. Lots of teams do this, but I love seeing this team be together, be a family. The chemistry, the camaraderie, all of that is important. And I think, of course, it's not going to contribute directly to more points scored and less points given up and directly to wins on the field, but it is important. And I think teams that are able to be an extension beyond the football field and between the white lines just have that going for them in terms of pushing towards the ultimate goal and part of what makes an organization sound from top to bottom. I think that is important. And yes, I'm putting way too much into a Halloween party. I understand that. But at the same time, I loved what I saw. So best costumes from what I saw online and on social media. Again, shout out Amon-Ra St. Brown. But how about Jahmyr Gibbs as Jeff Hardy? Now, I gotta be honest. I'm not a huge wrestling guy. In my industry, in the radio world, in the broadcast media world, a lot of people are. So it's not the first time, won't be the last time where I'm just kind of clueless on something. But the commitment, that's what I'm looking for. The commitment to the costume was superb, and I think it was probably one of the better ones. And hey, this is not being politically incorrect, or whatever the term is, when you look like Jahmyr Gibbs, and as far as the muscles and everything, you're going to look good in pretty much any costume. Now, how about our fearless leader, Jared Goff? He was dressed up as a chef from Ratatouille, which, by the way, did you catch Jared Goff on the Manning cast? I did not see it live. I'm a big Monday Night Football guy. Watch it live in the moment, but I did go back on YouTube, fancy new app that they've got, YouTube, and you can see it on your phone. You can see it. All right, I'm messing around, but on YouTube, I did see Jared Goff. I went back and watched Jared Goff's sit down with the Mannings. Thought it was pretty funny. I wish they'd let Jared Goff talk a little bit more. And I know it's the Manning cast and they kind of orchestrated, of course, but I think Goff had a lot of good things to say, but he kind of teased the Halloween costume and he delivered. So he was the chef from Ratatouille, which again, and his wife have their first child now. Awesome. The child was not at the party. I'm not saying that, but he included that in the Manning cast. So there you go. You had Penei Sewell dressed up as a scarecrow, which, Penei Sewell lining up across from any defender is scary. See what I did there? And again, you love to see that. And a couple other ones. I believe Aidan Hutchinson was a character from Stranger Things. I could be wrong with that. You got to help me out with that, because I'm not the best with the pop culture reference. But lots of good ones. And you got to give it up for Isaac Tesla, who looked phenomenal in his Halloween costume. Just really, really well done. And I'm scrolling through exactly what he looked like. You got if you haven't seen it yet, he had the purple long coat with the mustache and lots of makeup on. Really good. Taylor Decker, also really good. You had Malcolm Rodriguez showing off in the like a warrior. What am I looking for? And then Brock Wright went all out. Good stuff there. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, he was the one taking a lot of the photos, and just good vibes all the way around for this Detroit Lions team. So the Minnesota Vikings coming up. Looking forward to that. You've got a important matchup, a Minnesota Vikings team that's reeling. Lions are going to be heavy favorites, and I think it's going to be JJ McCarthy starting for the Vikings, but nonetheless, a divisional game at Ford Field, and will be important for the Lions to take that step forward. So thanks as always for tuning in. It's been an absolute blast and a pleasure to fill in for Matt Dery. I enjoyed every second of it. I enjoyed every single comment, even if some weren't the most uplifting. But hey, this is a passionate fan base. I get that. I respect that all the way. And because of that, I appreciate the passion that comes with being a subscriber, a fan, and a part of the Locked On Lions community. So I would appreciate if everybody at some point checked out the Locked On Lions squad show with myself, Natalie Kerwin, and Bradford Banta. Our next show will be on Thursday at 12:30. We're going to go a little later. We'll have a preview with Sam Ekstrom of the Vikings squad show. So a deep dive there. And as always, make sure you continue to like today's video, subscribe to the channel, and check out Locked On Lions and the shorts. The shorts content is out there as well. So tons and more tons of content to sink your teeth in. Shout out to the everydayers. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I'll talk to you on the Locked On Lions squad show on Thursday and post game. And next episode, you'll have Matt Dery. For your next episode after this one, since you just made the Locked On Lions squad show your first listen, make sure you check out Locked On NFL as well. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thanks so much for the opportunity to fill in for Matt Dery, and we'll see you next time on the Locked On Lions Podcast Network.